On August 20, 1977, humanity launched its hope into the cosmos aboard a small spacecraft called Voyager 2, a fragile creation of wires, panels, and circuits no bigger than a family car. Its mission was simple: to study the giant planets of our solar system. Nobody expected it to last more than a handful of years. Nobody imagined it would travel beyond Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, let alone continue long after its makers had grown old or passed away. It was built as a temporary explorer, a tool for a single chapter in history. But Voyager 2 defied every expectation. It endured. It pushed through the cold, the silence, and the endless distance, carrying the human story farther than any machine had ever gone. Nearly half a century later, the little probe still drifts on, whispering across the darkness. It has traveled over 12 billion miles, beyond the solar wind's protective bubble, into a realm no eye has ever seen directly. For decades, it returned little more than quiet measurements, particle counts, magnetic fields, faint traces of cosmic radiation. Its cameras, once the pride of its mission, had been shut down decades earlier to conserve power. They were thought to be lost forever, sealed in silence. But in early 2025, engineers at NASA made a bold choice: to try and wake them. They expected nothing, maybe a flicker of static, perhaps a faint blur of stars. What they received instead shook the scientific world to its core. At first, the images showed nothing out of the ordinary: streaks of light, radiation noise, smudges of distant stars. Days went by with no surprises. Many assumed the test was pointless. But then, in one frame, something appeared at the edge, a shadow. It was triangular, sharp, geometric. At first, it was dismissed as a glitch, a distortion caused by interference. But in the next frame, the shape had shifted. Slowly, deliberately, it had moved across the image. The analysts at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory labeled it Anomaly X7. They enhanced the exposure, processed the data again, and in that moment, the room fell into silence. What emerged was not a random fragment of rock or a wandering cloud of dust. It was structured. Massive. Shaped with unnatural symmetry. Dozens of miles across, faintly glowing in infrared, it seemed to hang in the void like a sentinel. And most unsettling of all, it appeared to face Voyager directly, as though it had been waiting. The final frame showed a sudden burst of light, a flare so bright it bled into static. Then the cameras went dark. Not from power loss, not from malfunction. They simply never came back. Yet Voyager itself remained alive. Its instruments kept working, its signal steady. For 72 hours after the flare, everything seemed normal. And then, without warning, something happened that stunned mission control. The spacecraft turned. Not a drift. Not a wobble. A smooth, exact 14-degree pivot, executed with the precision of a command from Earth. But no such command had been sent. Voyager had always been obedient, responding only to instructions from its makers. But now, for the first time, it acted on its own. When the maneuver ended, its high-gain antenna was locked directly on Earth. It was as if Voyager had chosen to look us in the eye. What followed was even stranger. Soon after the turn, its instruments began detecting a signal unlike anything ever recorded. The magnetometer, the plasma sensors, even the radiation counters, all picked up a faint, repeating vibration, a low-frequency hum pulsing every 17 seconds. At first, it was written off as background noise, the random interference of deep space. But then a pattern emerged. The hum was not random. Encoded inside the rhythm was a binary sequence, a steady stream of ones and zeros, repeating endlessly. When decoded, the message sent chills down every spine in the room. It was a countdown. Each pulse marked a number, falling one after the other, second by second, pointing toward a single date, July 28, 2025. No one knew what to make of it. The date did not correspond to any known astronomical event. No alignments, no comets, no scheduled spacecraft maneuvers. Nothing in celestial mechanics explained it. The implications were terrifying. Was Voyager transmitting a warning? Was something coming? Or had it stumbled across a presence so vast and incomprehensible that it could only express itself to us through numbers ticking toward an unknown moment? Behind the scenes, the tension grew. Leaked reports revealed emergency meetings held not only among NASA engineers but with military and intelligence officials. Governments around the world demanded answers. If the countdown was real, what happened when it reached zero? Could it be a cosmic event? A message? Or something far worse? And then came another revelation. The supposedly corrupted final image, dismissed as static, was not what it seemed. When filtered and processed through multiple layers of analysis, faint gridlines appeared. Ratios emerged. Harmonic structures that matched Fibonacci sequences, repeating golden spirals hidden in the noise. This was not an accident of light. It was a signal. A deliberate imprint buried inside the frame, aligned perfectly with the direction Voyager had turned toward. It was as if the image itself contained instructions. Or worse, as if it was a signature. Even stranger events followed. Subsystems long dead began to stir. Instruments that had been offline for decades blinked awake without command. A cosmic ray detector logged fresh readings. The ancient tape recorder, silent for years, spun briefly and captured fragments of data no one had requested. It was as though Voyager was being rebooted, piece by piece. No commands were sent. No updates had been possible for decades. Something else was running Voyager now. Something was speaking through it. Scientists struggled to interpret the hum. Some said it was a reflection, an echo of Voyager's own signal bouncing through deep space. But when the hum was compared to Earth's earliest radio broadcasts, the results were chilling. The pulse mirrored our own transmissions, but reversed, inverted, as though reflected in a cosmic mirror. Not language. Not conversation. Recognition. A reflection of us, sent back from something in the dark. A message not to us, but about us. And the countdown never stopped. Every cycle brought it closer to zero. Attempts to jam or disrupt the signal failed. It was too consistent, too precise, as if it was beyond our reach. Some scientists began to whisper that the countdown wasn't about Voyager at all. It was about Earth. A timer not of warning, but of inevitability. Voyager 2 had become more than a machine. It had become a messenger. Whether by chance or by design, it had crossed into a place where something else was waiting. And by turning back to face us, by sending its images, its hum, and its numbers, it had delivered a truth that no one can now ignore. We are not alone. Something vast, something intelligent, and something far older than humanity has noticed us. Perhaps the cameras were never meant to be turned on again. Perhaps by trying to glimpse the darkness, we opened a door. Not to another world, not to another star system, but to something timeless that has been watching silently until we dared to look its way. Now, as July 28 approaches, one question lingers like a shadow over every sleepless night. When the countdown ends, will it mark an arrival, a revelation, or the beginning of something we were never meant to see? Voyager has always been our silent ambassador, carrying the golden record of Earth's sounds and music into the cosmos, hoping that one day, someone might listen. But what if someone already has? What if that golden record was not a greeting, but a signal flare, and now, across 12 billion miles of space, a response has arrived? The spacecraft that began as a humble planetary explorer may have brought us face to face with a truth larger than our imagination. Whatever is out there knows us now. It has seen us, mirrored us, and answered us in the only way we could understand, with numbers, rhythm, and inevitability. The edge of our solar system may not just be the edge of our reach. It may be the edge of reality itself, where we meet the unknown and where the unknown finally turns its gaze back. And so Voyager drifts on, a tiny flicker of humanity in the endless black. But as its hum continues, as the numbers fall, as the date approaches, one thing is certain. We are not alone. And whatever waits in the dark has already found us.